So you did it. You went through the whole long process and you got a patent. Huge congrats. But here's the thing most people don't see coming. The moment it's granted isn't the end of the road, not even close. In fact, it's the start of a whole new set of headaches that can turn that prized asset into, well, a financial anchor.
So let's just ask the question right up front. Is that piece of paper a shield, actually protecting your invention and giving you a real competitive edge? Or is it quietly turning into an anchor, a source of hidden costs and risks that are just weighing you down? Today, we're going to dig into how to make sure it's the first one, not the second.
Okay, let's get right into the first hidden cost. What you're looking at here is the relentless ticking clock of U.S. patent maintenance fees. You've got to pay up at 3.5 years, then again at 7.5, and again at 11.5 years after your patent is granted. This isn't a one-and-done deal, you know? It's an ongoing financial commitment just to keep your rights in force.
And that's really the heart of the matter. Each one of these deadlines isn't just about paying a bill. It's a forced strategic checkpoint. You have to stop and ask yourself, is this patent still worth the investment? Paying that fee isn't just some administrative task. It's a choice that literally defines the future of that piece of your IP.
This brings us to a really simple but powerful framework for managing your whole portfolio. At every single one of those deadlines, you're facing three basic choices. Do you pay to maintain it? Do you prune it by just letting it go? Or do you find a way to monetize it? Let's break down how you'd even start to make that call.
Now, what's so great about this table is how it helps turn what feels like a passive cost into an active strategy. So maintaining it, that makes total sense if the patent is directly tied to your revenue or if it's blocking a competitor. You prune it, which is just a nice way of saying you cut it loose, when it's protecting old tech or has really weak claims that aren't defending much of anything. And then you monetize by selling or licensing it when an asset is valuable, but maybe just not core to your business. Somebody else might be willing to pay for it.
But to make any of those calls, pay, prune, or monetize, you first have to answer a deceptively simple question. What is your intellectual property actually worth? Without a clear valuation, you're pretty much just guessing. One of the most straightforward ways to start thinking about value is what's called the cost method. At its simplest, it just asks, what did it cost us to develop this IP? It's a good baseline, right? You calculate all the R&D and the investment, but you have to remember this method only looks backward. It doesn't capture the future economic potential, which, let's be honest, is often where the real value is.
And that potential can be staggering. I mean, take this example. Back in 2000, Ford's IP assets were estimated to be worth over $16 billion. That was a full third of the company's entire market value. This just shows you the immense, often hidden value that's locked up inside a patent portfolio and why these pay or prune decisions are so incredibly high stakes.
So what happens if you make the wrong choice? Or maybe you just miss a payment by accident? Well, this brings us to what we're calling the revival risk, or what some experts call performing CPR on patents. It's a surprisingly common problem with some very serious hidden dangers.
And if you think it's rare to miss a payment, think again. Since 1982, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, has revived approximately 73,000 patent applications that were abandoned. That is a huge number of oops moments, and every single one of them carries a hidden liability.
The danger really comes from the different standards for revival around the world. In the US, you generally just need to state that the lapse was unintentional. It's a pretty lenient standard. But over in Europe, you have to prove you took all due care, which is a much, much stricter evidence-based process. This gap creates a major vulnerability.
So here's the crucial point. Even if the USPTO accepts your unintentional statement and brings your patent back to life, that revival can be challenged later in court during a lawsuit. A competitor can argue your lapse was intentional, and if they succeed, your patent can be declared unenforceable. That revival becomes a permanent weak spot.
And this isn't just some theoretical risk. Look at the Warriors sports case. A critical patent lapsed because a legal assistant who was secretly and terminally ill made a mistake. The company had no idea about her condition. The USPTO denied their revival petition, absurdly demanding a statement from the now-deceased assistant. It took a full-blown lawsuit and detailed medical evidence to finally get that patent back. It's a powerful and very human reminder of how brutal this process can be.
So how do you avoid these pitfalls and move from this defensive, cost-focused mindset to a proactive one? How do you make sure your portfolio is truly an asset? It all starts with building a proactive strategy. First, docket everything. Create a master list of all your grant dates and payment windows. Second, audit regularly. Just like a financial audit, review your portfolio to assess its current relevance and value. Third, align each patent with your business goals. Does it support your current product roadmap? And finally, streamline your decision-making with a standardized internal process so you're not scrambling at the last minute.
These proactive steps are so critical because, as this quote points out, risk isn't loud, it escalates quietly. The longer you neglect your portfolio, the more vulnerable it becomes. Inaction itself creates an opening for competitors to challenge you, to block you, or even to claim your own ideas.
And so we end right back where we started. It's time to take a hard look at your intellectual property and ask, is it an active, powerful asset that's driving value for your business, or have you just been paying for an anchor? The choice and the strategy is yours.